So you just got the Fuji X-S10 and you're wondering how can you configure it to make it more efficient, more personalized, and maybe remove some of the annoying stuff on there. So that's exactly what I'm going to cover in this video. But before I start, I just want to say that the Fujifilm cameras are exceptionally good right out of the box. If you don't feel like configuring it and changing anything, you're really good to go, and the buttons and the menus and everything is really well set up right from the start. So the first thing to make sure that is set up on your Fuji X-S10 or any camera that has a viewfinder is to make sure that the viewfinder is actually in focus. And to do that, you have to use the diopter right here on the side. That's a little wheel that's right to the right of the viewfinder, right there on the X-S10. It's really easy to set up. You just look through the viewfinder and you turn the wheel until everything is sharp on the viewfinder. So that way you're sure that you see the right thing and you see properly in the viewfinder the image that it shows you, which is a really good thing to get good photos. So yeah, one last thing to consider when adjusting your viewfinders is that if you're like me and sometimes you shoot with glasses and sometimes you shoot with contacts, that because the distance to the viewfinder is different with glasses and contacts, and you may have to adjust it depending if you're wearing your glasses or contacts. There might be a slight difference, so pay attention to that. So the next thing I do like to set up on my camera is to add the histogram to the display screen and to the viewfinder when I look through the viewfinder. So it's really easy to do in the Fuji cameras. You only have to go in the menus, and I've actually made a full video on how to set it up, not only how to set it up, but on how to use it and make the most out of your histogram on this camera. As you can see right there, the histogram is what I like to add. It's not there by default. Like I said, I have a full video on this, but quickly, if you want to add it, you go into your screen setup, and then you go down, I think it's on the third menu, display custom settings. In here, you can add and remove anything that's on your screen, and here is the histogram. You can turn it on and off so that you can view. Let's go back. Quickly view. Have a quick view of the histogram while you take the picture. So that's very useful. So as you've seen, it's really easy to set up, and I really enjoy having the histogram right in the viewfinder live when I shoot. Sometimes there are scenes, especially when it's super bright, that you don't really see well, even in the viewfinder. On the screen in the back, forget it. When it's bright sun or in a bright scene, you're not going to see really well on the back screen, but even in a viewfinder, sometimes you don't really see that well, so the histogram is really useful for that. So now to the thing that I find a little bit annoying, and that is the focus beep. That beep that every time you half press the shutter button, it just beeps. I'm a calm person, I'm shy, I don't like to attract attention, so I turn that off. But also if you're doing events and you don't want, to attract attention or to disturb people, so that's a good thing to turn off. I never have it on. I can see in the camera when I'm focusing, so I don't need the beep to tell me that also. So it's really easy to turn off. Now if we go into the menu, this option is in the sound setup. AF beep off. So as you've seen, it's really easy to turn off, and now you can take pictures. No beep, and that is awesome. So the next thing I want to talk about is not so much a configuration or a change to the camera, but it's more of a way to quickly adjust your settings. So if you're new to the Fujifilm system, you have to familiarize yourself with the Q button. That's right there on the top of the camera. The Q button, or the quick menu, is a menu that has a lot of settings that you can quickly access, hence the name, quick menu that you can quickly access to adjust some of the settings of your camera. When you're in the Q menu, you have access to pretty much all the essential settings that you need to when you're shooting. So the focus, manual, continuous or single focus, the focus point, you can go from point to small area to the large area to the full area. Dynamic range settings, noise reduction, that's mostly for JPEG, and you can set your image quality. I shoot RAW, but if you shoot JPEG, you can set your resolution. I'll set it back to RAW. Your color profile, and then you've got shutter, delayed shutter. Your if you're gonna focus on the face, if it's gonna try to find faces, eye, right eye, left eye, so different focus helper there. The flash settings, and also this is the brightness of the screen. So as you can see, it's really quick and easy to adjust your shooting settings using the Q menu. So the next thing I want to talk about is that almost all the buttons on the camera can be set to whatever you want. You can customize all of the buttons. I didn't change a lot because, as I've said, the Fujifilm camera, I really enjoy how it's set up right off the bat. There's one thing you may consider changing, and it's the left top dial here. This one right now is set to film simulation, and as you've seen, it's really easy to adjust in the quick menu. So I don't see why you would really want to change that right on the spot quickly. So having that there is not that useful. The quick menu is doing the job. So you may want, especially if you shoot manual, you may want to set that to ISO. So yeah, it's very easy to change the settings on the camera. You just hold back the back button a few seconds and it'll bring you right to the function settings. So here you can change all of these buttons you can change. All right, so you may want to change this one to ISO. So you would go in here and find the ISO and then change that to ISO. So have you seen, it's really easy to set up any button. The other button that I've changed is there's a small button right there next to the viewfinder that's really quite easy to access when you're holding it to one hand with your thumb like this. I set that to playback, to view the images. After I've taken images, I find that just being able to press the play button with one hand to look through it is really practical. So I've set that to playback. My menu is the first menu that shows on screen when you press the menu button on the back of the camera. So it's really practical to put the things that you use most often there that might not be in the Q menu, so that they're easily accessible. And the other thing that I like to place in there are options that I may forget where they are, or I may forget that they even exist. So it's kind of a reminder of things that I can adjust in the camera, so I find that practical. When you go into menu, the first thing you see is the My Menu settings. So now if you want to set your My Menu option, go into User Setting, My Menu Settings, and you can set it for image taking and also for filming. I have two different menus, personalized menu for each. You click the Add Item, and you just select what you want to add. Let's say I want to just go through the menu and select what you want to add. See, I've added this. Let's say I want to add scene position. I don't know what that is. Or let's say I want to add the self timer in there. So there you go. Now in my menu, it's right there. So back, you can change the order of things in here. So you see here, that's page 1. Those are going to be on page 2. And go back. You can remove items easily also. So now, every time that you open the menu, the first page you're at are the things that you've set. So I've put the shutter type here, manual electronic shutter. That's something I change sometimes. Preview exposure, that's very useful when you have a flash, especially. Manual focus, I have a video on that also. That's something that I've put right there. Focus check, I'm not sure. AF illuminator, that's the, when it's dark, you've got a small light in front of the camera. That is, there's a small light in front of the camera right there that illuminate the scene to make it a little brighter so that the camera can focus easier. And then I've got some other ones, custom settings. This is something you may want to set if you use continuous focus, how your continuous focus handles subject that's moving, how it follows focus and things like that. I like this one. So you see, it's really easy to just customize your My menu and add the things that you use most often. You don't have to do the same things as I do. We all use cameras differently, so it's up to you. Add, remove, and in time you'll find the right My menu for you. So I hope you found these customization useful for you. If you didn't know about them, or if you knew, maybe you've seen a few different new ways to customize your camera. And if you do have any other ways that you change the settings, you adjust your buttons that you find practical, share them in the comments below. And yeah, so that's it. Go out there, shoot, have fun, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.